Well, before we start diving into developer productivity, which is the topic of the podcast today, we had some stuff come over from the Biden administration. So does anyone have any kind of recap or something we can tell the audience about what this means for AI and the development of it over time from the president?
So basically what they're trying to do, so there's the executive order that came out for AI in America. There's also the AI Council that's happening in the UK. And all these governments are basically trying to come together to figure out how do we get our hands wrapped around this potentially human-destroying technology. It almost feels like we're being misled, right? Like AI is going to potentially be, destructive to humanity and all this stuff, when in reality, we have stupid LLMs that require 128 gigabytes of memory to be able to do anything. It's not like they're going to break out all of a sudden and be like the Terminator and all this nonsense.
It makes a lot of sense, and a lot of people are looking at it like more, AI is going to take over. That's the clickbait thing,
right?
But if you look at the executive order, it's about it's more aligned with how the day-to-day average person is mentally modeling AI. This is a threat to me. This is a threat to me. So a lot of the provisions in the executive order have to do with protecting workers' rights and protecting the citizens of the United States, not from impending doom from an AI takeover, but more from a we need to make sure that people are protected. So like there's 8 principles in the executive order. 6 out of 8 of them have to do in some way with risk management. Right. 2 of them have to do with advancing things. And in this executive order, which you had to put into an LLM just to understand it because it's so long.
Claude, thank you.
The word investment is written 5 times.
Right.
So this isn't about investing in AI. Now, there are provisions in this that talk about investing in AI, and they actually have I didn't even know this, they have a tech modernization fund at the federal government level, which has like a I actually found how much money they have. It looks like they've spent $750 million, and they have like 1.25, but it's basically a blank check.
So to parlay onto that, what's kind of interesting, the fellowship. So they have basically an AI fellowship that you can go sign up for, and if you do get accepted, I think it's like 12 to 24 month run where they actually are going to put you into a government program to basically try to figure out how they can leverage AI to improve it. And I think it's like the pay for it's like $150. Now, but you need to be in DC, and you're going to be in DC for those 12 to 24 months.
There's a lot of specific line items in this that have to do with basically asking government agencies to start implementing AI, which I thought was the more interesting thing about this, because so you get the high level gobbledygook,
right?
But then you get these specific like this within 360 days this must happen. Well, a lot of it is, hey, we should probably start looking at AI use in government from a government operations perspective. I mean, you never hear the government talk about making their operations more efficient.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you read it, it's mostly about trying to protect American citizens from the threats of AI, which really have to do with what we've been talking about from the beginning, which is, am I going to have a job next week?
Right. Also the bias, right? Like,
the bias is in there. That's one of the 7 things. Yep,
right.
It's in there.
Where they want to make sure that, but at the same time,
they just basically said they don't like that.
Yeah,
they didn't really say.
We don't want your AIs to be biased towards people who don't have white skin, but the reality is it's kind of like, well, isn't like the credit score. I mean, credit score is suspect, and so there's like so many different. I don't know.
They're basically making sure they get it out there that they want to mitigate risk and they want to mitigate threats. Those are they're not any different than the things we've already seen. There are a lot of provisions that potentially will spend money on things. A lot of those things seem to be projects related to research and identifying opportunities, but not necessarily investing in a new thing that's going to, get us to the moon faster or advance our society.
I'm just looking at the roadmap here that they just released yesterday, and Azure and Microsoft obviously are deeply connected with the government, and they've got in Q1 of 24, they're going to be using OpenAI and Azure Government and they're going to be doing Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. It looks like summer of 2024. So it's coming, like absolutely coming. The investment is here. They're going to be implementing AI into government institutions, and this is just all a part of the greater conversation of how do we protect against it? How do we make things more efficient and do it in a responsible way? So
so there's basically nothing to fear. The Biden administration has come out with some legislation because AI is the biggest thing since sliced bread right now to basically assure the nation and people who are working regular jobs that, hey, there are provisions within our government system that are going to protect you from some revolutionary technology.
Yes.
Basically is what we're saying.
Basically.
It's not
it's obviously
too
someone
dangerous.
spent a lot of time on writing this.
Sam.
Okay.
Sam from OpenAI is highly motivated to have regulations be added, right? Because they're primed for it. They're basically saying, yeah, here's how you should do it. Just happens to align with how their business model is set up, right? And
they
it
just
seems
won themselves
like
a new customer.
yeah, exactly. And it seems like right now there's the regulation will come in when your models hit a certain size. Right, like so, if a model has, I forget what the exact parameters are for a model, but a model that it hits this size needs to be regulated a little bit differently, and it happens to be just on the other side of I think ChatGPT 4, right? Of like once it passes ChatGPT 4 and the size of how big the data set is and how many hardware it takes to train these models, that they need to go through some sort of a check, if you will. But even then, that seems short-sighted, I guess would be the right word. It's almost like when the iPhone first came out. So like we're talking 2007, right? 2007, the iPhone comes out, and we realize that, people are really obsessed with their phones. We need to like implement a bunch of things to kind of regulate and control it. And it's like the first version of the iPhone was nothing. So like the moment that these large language models start coming, the next generation, they're all going to basically fall within this preview of whatever regulation that they want. I don't know. It just seems like they need some talking points to.
Yeah, well, I think
definitely fell ill.
We can all agree that Sam Altman is an esoteric founder, that you should be like 25% as good as him and you'll be extremely successful.
Yeah.